My mom wants me to give half my apartment to my adopted sister who made my childhood hell. I said, no, I've been sitting on this for weeks now, going back and forth about whether I should even write it down. But I need to get this out of my head, and maybe, just maybe, someone out there will understand why I feel the way I do, because my mom certainly doesn't. I'm 28 years old. I own a modest apartment that I bought 2 years ago after nearly a decade of working my way up from nothing. And my mom, the person who raised me, wants me to give half of it to my adopted sister. The same person who spent 18 years making my life miserable while she watched and did nothing. Let me start from the beginning. I was 10 years old when my mom sat me down at the kitchen table with a serious expression on her face. She kept fidgeting with a coffee cup. "Sweetie," my mom said, "how would you feel about having a sister?" I remember the excitement that flooded through me. I was an only child and I'd spent years begging for a sibling, someone to play dolls with, someone to share secrets with, someone who would be on my team when my mom said no to something. "Really?" I asked, practically bouncing in my seat. "A sister? Like a baby?" My mom shook her head gently. "Not a baby, sweetheart. There's a girl at the group home where I volunteer. She's 13. She's been through a lot and she needs a family. I've been talking about adopting her. 13, 3 years older than me, even better, I thought. She could teach me things. She could protect me from the older kids at school who like to pick on me. She could be my best friend." "Yes," I shouted. "Yes, please. Can we?" My mom smiled with relief. She'd been worried I'd be jealous or resistant. Instead, I was already planning which of my toys I'd share with her, which games we'd play together, how I'd introduce her to all my friends. I had no idea what was coming. She moved in 3 months later after all the paperwork and home visits and interviews were finished. I'd spent those months preparing, cleaning out half my bookshelf for her, making a welcome home sister sign with my mom, practicing being the best little sister anyone could ask for. The day she arrived, I was standing at the front door, bouncing on my heels with anticipation. The social worker's car pulled up and out stepped a tall, lanky girl with dark hair and eyes that seemed to look through everything rather than at it. I ran to meet her. "Hi. I'm so excited you're here. Want to see my room? It's going to be your room too. I have dolls and..." She walked past me like I wasn't there. My mom rushed forward, her arms open for a hug. She sidestepped her and headed straight into the house without a word. My mom put her hand on my shoulder. "Give her time," she said quietly. "She's been through a lot. She'll warm up." I believed her. I believed everyone who said those words over the next few months. Give her time. She's adjusting. She's been through trauma. Be patient. What I didn't understand at 10 years old was that some people don't warm up. Some people stay cold and they use that coldness like a weapon against anyone who tries to get close. The incident started small. My favorite doll, the one I'd saved my allowance for 3 months to buy, disappeared from my room. I tore through every drawer, every closet, every corner. Nothing. "Have you seen my doll?" I asked her at dinner. She didn't look up from her plate. "No." 2 days later, I found it in the trash can outside, broken into pieces. When I showed my mom, tears streaming down my face, she sighed. "Honey, are you sure you didn't leave it somewhere? Maybe the cat got to it." "We don't have a cat." "Then maybe it fell and broke. Things like that happen. Don't be so dramatic." I looked at my sister across the table. She was watching me with a small smile on her face. The first real smile I'd seen from her since she arrived. That's when I knew. She wanted me to know it was her. She wanted me to see that smile. And she wanted me to understand that telling our mom would accomplish nothing. Over the next few years, the incidents multiplied. Money disappeared from my piggy bank. Not all of it, just enough that I'd question whether I'd actually had as much as I thought. My homework assignments vanished the night before they were due. My bike got a flat tire. My favorite shirt ended up with bleach stains. And every single time I tried to tell my mom, the response was the same. "Are you sure it was her? You need to be more responsible with your things. She's still adjusting. Be patient. You're the biological daughter. You're more secure. You can handle more." That last one stuck with me. You can handle more. As if my job in this family was to be the punching bag so my sister could have a softer landing. As if my pain was less important because my childhood had been stable before she arrived. Meanwhile, she got more presents to make up for lost years. More attention because she needs extra support. More excuses for bad behavior because of her trauma. I understood trauma. I really did. Even at 10, 11, 12 years old, I understood that she'd been through things I couldn't imagine. Foster homes, group homes, never knowing if she'd have a family. I wanted to be compassionate. I wanted to help her heal. But compassion has limits, and healing shouldn't come at the cost of destroying someone else. The bullying at school started when I was 12 and she was 15. She told everyone that our family had bought her like a pet, that I was a spoiled only child whose mom had purchased a sister because I was too pathetic to make real friends. The kids at school loved it. They repeated her words back to me in the hallways, in the cafeteria, on the bus. Did your mommy buy you a sister because no one else likes you? When I came home crying, my mom confronted her. For once, I thought someone would believe me. Someone would protect me. I never said that, she told her, her face a mask of wounded innocence. I would never say something like that. She's making it up to get me in trouble. She's always been jealous that you love me more. My mom's face crumpled. Honey, she said to me, your sister wouldn't lie about something like this. Are you sure you didn't misunderstand? I stared at her. There are 20 kids who heard her say it. Kids exaggerate, my mom said. You probably misheard something and it got blown out of proportion. Now apologize to your sister for accusing her. I looked at my sister. She was smiling that same smile from years ago. The one that said she knew exactly what she was doing and there was nothing I could do about it. I apologized. Update 1. The teenage years were worse. Much worse. She got bolder as we got older. Started taking my things openly, my clothes, my jewelry, my money, daring me to complain. When I did complain, my mom said, share with your sister. Don't be selfish. She learned that I was a safe target. No consequences ever came for her. Why would they? In my mom's eyes, she was the wounded bird she'd rescued, and I was the privileged biological daughter who had everything she never did. The fights got physical when I was 14. Nothing serious, a shove here, a scratch there, but always when no one was watching, and always followed by her favorite tactic, provoking me until I reacted, then running to our mom to show her the bruise or mark I'd given her in self-defense. Why would you hurt your sister? My mom would ask, her voice heavy with disappointment. She started it. That doesn't matter. You don't hit family. Except she wasn't family. Not really. Family protects each other. Family has each other's backs. She spent our entire shared childhood proving that she wanted what I had, not who I was. I stopped fighting back. I stopped complaining. I stopped expecting anything to change. Instead, I counted down the days until I could leave. At 18, I moved out. I had a part-time job at a coffee shop and enough savings for the first month's rent on a studio apartment the size of a closet. It was the happiest day of my life. Don't you think you're being a little dramatic? My mom asked as I loaded my car. You could stay here, save money, go to a better college. I'm good, I said. And I drove away without looking back. I worked full-time while attending community college at night. I transferred to a 4-year school, graduated with a degree in finance, and clawed my way into an entry-level position at a firm that actually valued hard work. While I was building, my sister was not. She bounced from job to job, relationship to relationship, excuse to excuse. Nothing was ever her fault. Her boss was always out to get her. Her boyfriend was always too demanding. The world was always unfair to her. At 25, after her latest spectacular failure, something involving unpaid rent and an eviction notice, she moved back in with our mom. She's been there ever since. Still there at 31, and my mom still makes excuses. She had a hard start. She's still finding herself. She just needs the right opportunity. They adopted her hoping for a bigger family. They got a bigger burden. And somehow, 18 years later, I was supposed to pay for their hopeful mistake. At 26, I did something I dreamed about for years. I bought an apartment. It wasn't much, $114,700 for a small 2-bedroom in a decent neighborhood. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. Completely, entirely, legally mine. The first night I slept there, I cried. Not from sadness, from relief. This was the first thing in my life that my sister couldn't touch, couldn't take, couldn't ruin. These walls were mine. This space was mine. No one could break my things here. No one could steal from me. No one could gaslight me into believing I was the problem. I didn't tell my family for months. When I finally mentioned it during a phone call with my mom, just casually, "Oh, I bought a place." Her response was telling. "That's nice," she said. Then immediately, "Your sister is really struggling right now. She lost another job. Do you think you could send her a little money to help out?" Same pattern as always. My success was an afterthought. Her failure was the main event. Update 2. 3 weeks ago, my mom invited me to dinner. "Just family," she said on the phone. "We haven't been together in too long." I should have known something was wrong when I walked in. My sister was there, obviously, she lives there, but there was something different in the air. My mom kept glancing at me nervously, rehearsed, and my sister, she was smirking. That same smile I'd seen 1,000 times growing up. The one that meant she'd already won, and I just didn't know it yet. We got through dinner somehow. The food tasted like cardboard in my mouth. Every second that passed, I could feel something building, a storm about to break. Finally, my mom cleared her throat. "Honey," she said, "we need to talk about family. About fairness." My stomach dropped. I knew what was coming. I just couldn't believe she'd actually say it. My mom's voice was thick with practiced emotion. "I raised you girls equally. Same love, same home, same opportunities. But life hasn't been equal for you both. You have an apartment, a career, stability. Your sister has struggled. She's had some setbacks, things outside her control." My sister sat back in her chair, arms crossed, watching me with that infuriating smile still playing on her lips. "I think it's time for you to help balance things," my mom continued. "Add your sister's name to your apartment. 50-50. Sisters sharing, the way it should be." For a moment, I couldn't speak. The audacity of it. The absolute mind-bending audacity. Then my sister spoke, her voice dripping with fake humility. "I'm not asking for charity," she said. "I just want what's fair. You got all the advantages, biological kid, stable childhood, years of memories I wasn't part of. I got the trauma and the catching up. This would even things out. She broke my things for years, and I was told to share. She bullied me, and I was told to understand. She stole from me, and I was told to be generous. Now I was being told to give her half my apartment. The pattern never changed, just the price." I stared at them both. My mom with her expectant, hopeful face. My sister with her smug satisfaction. "Equal?" I finally said. "You think you raised us equally?" My mom nodded eagerly. I tried so hard. "She broke my toys," I interrupted. "No consequences." That was. "She stole from me. You told me to share. We were trying to. She bullied me at school. You said I was being dramatic. No, that's not. She lied to get me in trouble. You believed her every time." I was standing now, though I didn't remember getting up. "She got extra presents to make up for her past. She got extra attention because she needed it. She got excuses for everything while I got blamed for reacting to her abuse." My voice cracked. "That's not equal. That's sacrificing one child for another. Mom said she raised us equally. Equal would have been consequences for her and protection for me. Instead, I got blamed for her behavior and she got excused for mine. That's not equal. That's sacrifice. And I was the offering." Update 3. My mom looked at me like I'd grown a second head, like I was speaking a language she'd never heard before. "That's not how it was," she said, her voice small and hurt. "You're exaggerating. You're remembering things wrong." "I'm stating facts," I replied. "Ask anyone who knew us growing up. Ask my teachers. Ask the neighbors. Ask anyone. Everyone saw it except you. You were so focused on saving her," I pointed at my sister, "that you forgot to protect me." My mom stood up, her face reddening. "I did my best. She needed more. She needed consequences," I cut her off. "She never got them. That's why she's 31, unemployed, and living with you. And now you want to give her half my apartment because you feel guilty about the monster you created." The word hung in the air. Monster. My sister's fake humility evaporated instantly. Her face twisted into something ugly and familiar. "Monster?" She spat. "I'm the monster? You had everything? A mom who wanted you. A home from birth. No foster care. No group homes. No wondering if anyone would ever love you. I had nothing and you had everything, and you're calling me the monster for wanting a piece of what you got? You didn't want a piece," I said, my voice cold and steady. "You wanted to destroy what I had. There's a difference." She said I had all the advantages. I had a mom who forgot about me while she focused on her. I had a childhood spent being her target. I had years of therapy to undo the damage. Those aren't advantages. Those are survival costs. I didn't get this apartment from having a loving mom, I said. I got it from leaving. From working while you played victim. From building while you blamed everyone else. My apartment has nothing to do with my childhood. It has everything to do with choices I made as an adult. I paused, letting it sink in. Choices you never made. My mom started crying. Real tears. The kind that used to make me cave every time as a kid. The kind that made me apologize for things I hadn't done, accept blame I didn't deserve, pretend everything was fine when it wasn't. Not anymore. This family is falling apart, she sobbed. I always dreamed of my girls being close, supporting each other. Instead, there's all this hatred. I don't hate her, I said quietly. I'm indifferent to her. There's a difference. She made my childhood miserable, and you allowed it. I survived. I moved on. I built a life. Now you want me to hand her pieces of that life. I shook my head. No. My apartment is mine. My success is mine. She can build her own. At 31, it's past time she started. She's 31. At some point, hard start becomes permanent excuse. At some point, finding herself becomes avoiding herself. At some point, parents have to stop blaming the past and start seeing the present. She never did. That's why she's still failing, and why they thought my apartment could fix it. My mom tried one last tactic. Authority. As your mother, she said, drawing herself up. I'm asking you to do this for the family. Mom said, as your mother, I'm asking you. She stopped being my mother when she made me her punching bag for 18 years. She became her mother only. I became the other kid in the house. Now she's an adult I barely know, asking me for an apartment she didn't help me buy. Motherhood isn't just a title either. As an adult who built something alone, I replied, I'm saying no. You don't get to guilt me into fixing your failures. You adopted her. You raised her. You enabled her. The results are your responsibility, not mine. I grabbed my jacket from the hook. I'm not the family ATM. I'm not the family sacrifice. I'm a person who owes this woman nothing. My sister lunged forward, fists clenched. I'm your sister. They called her my sister. Sisters protect each other. Sisters have each other's backs. She spent 18 years attacking me and 13 years since then failing to become a person. That's not a sister. That's a title without any of the meaning. You're someone my mom adopted who spent 18 years tormenting me, I said, stepping back toward the door. Biology isn't the only thing that makes family. Neither is paperwork. Behavior matters. You never behaved like a sister. You behaved like an enemy. I opened the door. I owe enemies nothing. Update 4. I walked out the door that night without looking back. No dramatic exit, no slamming doors, just a quiet final departure. My mom didn't call for weeks. The silence was deafening at first. I kept checking my phone, expecting, I don't know what, an apology, an acknowledgement, some sign that she finally understood. Instead, when my mom finally reached out, it wasn't to apologize. It was to negotiate. I've been thinking, she said carefully. And maybe I was asking too much. What if it was just 25% of the apartment? A smaller share. More of a token of family unity. I didn't respond. There was nothing to say. A week later, a letter arrived. My sister's handwriting, or rather, what was clearly my mom's words written in her hand. It talked about fresh starts and sisterly love and putting the past behind us. It mentioned how much she'd grown and changed, how she was ready to be the sister I deserved. I threw it in the trash without finishing it. Then came the email from my mom. Long, rambling, full of phrases like family legacy and what I hoped for when I adopted her and the bond I always wanted you to share. I responded with one line, you hoped wrong. That's not my fault and not my debt. Update 5. Months passed. Winter turned to spring, then summer. I lived my life, went to work, came home to my apartment. My apartment that remained entirely, completely mine. Sometimes I'd sit on my small balcony with a glass of wine and just breathe in and out, feeling the peace of a space that belonged only to me. Eventually, my mom started reaching out for normal things, holiday plans, family photos, updates about the garden she was growing. Surface-level stuff. Safe stuff. The apartment was never mentioned again. I heard through the grapevine, an aunt who couldn't help gossiping, that my sister had finally moved out of my mom's house. She'd found a boyfriend, apparently, Someone who had his own apartment and was willing to let her move in. Another enabler. Another soft landing. Another person who would eventually learn what I already knew. She would take and take until there was nothing left, and then she would blame them for not having more to give. My mom seemed relieved. According to my aunt, lighter. I imagined she was. 18 years of funding her failures, of making excuses, of pouring everything into someone who never gave anything back. That's exhausting. She was 61 now. She wanted to retire, travel, enjoy her golden years without a 31-year-old permanent child weighing her down. I wondered if she ever connected the dots. If she ever realized that the same energy she'd spent on her could have gone toward actually having 2 children. Instead, she'd had 1 child she supported and 1 she sacrificed. But that kind of self-awareness would require acknowledging what she'd done. And she'd spent too many years convincing herself she'd been a good mother to both of us. The truth would shatter that story. So she'd keep believing the comfortable lie. And I'd keep living my uncomfortable truth. It's been a year now since that dinner. A year since they asked me to hand over half my life to someone who'd spent decades trying to destroy it. My relationship with my mom is cordial. We talk occasionally. She sends pictures sometimes. I respond with brief, pleasant messages. Everything stays on the surface, because going deeper would require confronting things none of us are ready to face. She'll never fully understand why I said no. She'll never fully see what she did. In her mind, she was a loving mother who gave everything to 2 daughters. And one of those daughters inexplicably turned bitter and selfish. In my mind, she made a choice. Maybe not consciously, maybe not with malicious intent, but a choice nonetheless. She chose her, over and over, for 18 years. She chose her, and now she's living with the consequences of that choice, a 31-year-old failure who can't function without someone to blame, and a biological daughter who loves her but will never fully trust her again. My sister is a stranger now. She always was, really. The adoption was supposed to give me a sibling, a companion, a lifelong friend. Instead, it gave me a cautionary tale about what happens when love isn't paired with accountability. People say, but she's your sister. Like the word means something automatic. It doesn't. Sister is earned, not assigned. It's built through trust and protection and showing up. She did none of that. She spent our shared childhood proving she wanted what I had, not who I was. Now she's 31, still wanting what others have, still failing to build her own. They wanted me to give her half my apartment. Half of what I built while she destroyed. Half of my escape from her. The answer was no. The answer will always be no. Not because I'm selfish, because I'm finally free. And I'm not handing pieces of my freedom to someone who spent 18 years trying to take everything else. The apartment stays mine. The life stays mine. The sister stays a stranger. Some families grow together. Ours just grew apart. I used to grieve that. Now I just accept it. Some things were broken before they started. You can't fix what was never whole. You can only build something new. That's what I did. That's what I'm keeping. That's enough. Last night, my phone buzzed. A text from my mom. Just a picture of her garden. Some tomatoes she's growing. Nothing important. Just connection. I sent back a thumbs up. This is our relationship now. Surface, safe, distant. And maybe, for the first time, that's okay.